Vulgar Display of Power was the most important record of our career.
On February 25th, 1992, Dimebag Darrell, Phil Anselmo, Rex Brown, and Vinnie Paul released an album so powerful it pushed heavy metal into a new era. And what happened next changed the genre forever. This is the story behind one of the most iconic and influential heavy metal albums of all time, Vulgar Display of Power by Pantera.
2, 3, 4!
Originally a glam metal band, Pantera underwent a musical transformation in the early 90s. The turning point came in 1986 when they recruited Phil Anselmo on vocals. His harsher and heavier style led to the 1988 album Power Metal, which caught the attention of Atco Records. The resulting partnership gave birth to their 1990 album Cowboys from Hell, marking Pantera's new sound and identity. It wasn't quite thrash metal, and it wasn't traditional metal. At the time, Pantera called it power groove. Eventually, it would become known as groove metal. During that period, the musical landscape was changing. Grunge was surging out of Seattle and sweeping across mainstream culture, while heavy metal found itself in decline. To make matters worse, many defining thrash metal acts from the 80s had mellowed out and softened their edges. If some of the biggest heavy metal bands in the world were pulling back, then someone needed to push forward. And Pantera felt they had the opportunity to make that push. So instead of adapting to the trend, Pantera chose to go the other way. They decided to go much heavier. As producer Terry Date said it plainly, Pantera wanted to make the heaviest record of all time. In 1991, merely weeks after a brief break following their Cowboys from Hell tour, Pantera returned to the recording studio to track Vulgar Display of Power, their second release under Atco Records. The album was produced by Terry Date, who had previously worked with the band on Cowboys from Hell. Date would go on to produce the band's following two albums, Far Beyond Driven, released in 1994, and The Great Southern Trendkill, released in 1996. Before he arrived to work on the album, however, the band had already demoed 3 tracks: A New Level, Regular People, and No Good, Attack the Radical. Dimebag had also developed the main riff for Walk, which he had been playing during soundchecks while touring for Cowboys from Hell. The rest of the material was written in the studio. This approach was intentional. The studio itself held great significance. The band chose to record at Pantego Sound Studio in Texas, which was owned by Jerry Abbott, Vinnie Paul and Dimebag's father, a country musician and music producer. Terry Date approached the recording of Vulgar Display of Power with a clear goal in mind: to make the band sound more powerful and bigger than ever, ensuring that every instrument cut through the mix. Once the band had dialed in their tones, they started simultaneously writing and tracking the album. Vinnie Paul said that one of the most important things for them was creating a special sound that people would know as Pantera. We got real close to it on Cowboys, but we really focused on honing the guitar sound to what it ended up being. And we really focused on the drums being really percussive with a nice attack. The recording sessions were defined by hard work and very long days, sometimes up to 16 hours. Usually, Dimebag's riffs would serve as the backbone, and the songs would only come alive once the rest of the band locked in. Vinnie Paul's drumming was essential to that formula. His powerful style and rhythmic precision helped create the famous Pantera groove. Rex Brown's bass superbly filled the space between the guitars and the drums, adding a layer that kept the groove going and made the riffs feel heavier. Phil Anselmo's vocal performances pushed his abilities to their limits. Some tracks demanded brutal and aggressive screams, while others required a tighter sense of precision and control. The lyrics focused on themes of strength, anger, individuality, and resistance. The band also experimented with various tempos, rhythms, and dynamics, building songs that emphasized groove and heaviness over speed. Nearly 2 months into the recording sessions, Pantera briefly left the studio after being invited to perform at the Monsters of Rock festival in Moscow. Sharing the stage with Metallica, AC/DC, and the Black Crowes, the band played in front of an estimated 500,000 people. Following this historic appearance, they returned to Texas to complete the album. During these recording sessions, Pantera knew that they were building something unique. The songs had power and attitude unlike anything they had created before. What they couldn't foresee was just how much it would resonate with metal fans around the world. Vulgar Display of Power originally contained 11 tracks with a total runtime of 52 minutes and 48 seconds. While the album is widely regarded as a near-flawless body of work, several of those tracks have transcended their era to become true heavy metal classics. Mouth for War opens the record without ceremony. Its powerful groove and aggressive sound hit you immediately. Lyrically, the song establishes one of the album's core messages that anger, channeled with discipline, becomes a source of power rather than destruction. That same sense of momentum carries directly into the next track, A New Level. Pantera frequently used it to open their live sets. It was among the few tracks demoed before the main recording sessions began. Still, it captures the album's atmosphere perfectly. The song Walk takes a different approach. It is slower, simpler, and heavier. By doing so, it became one of the most recognizable songs in heavy metal. That riff shouldn't work. It's minimal and almost stripped down to nothing. And that's exactly why it hits so hard. The lyrics are about self-respect and authenticity, a message that resonated deeply with the core audience. The next one is brief, explosive, and clocking in at under 3 minutes. The song Hostile calls out individuals who misuse their authority, particularly politicians and religious leaders. As one of the fastest tracks on the album, it became a fan favorite during live shows. After the unrelenting aggression of Hostile, This Love shifts the album into its most psychologically complex territory. It explores the dark realities of obsession and toxic relationships. Perhaps the record's most dramatically structured song, it moves between calm verses and explosive choruses. By using these contrasts, Pantera revealed the full emotional range they were capable of. But the album doesn't rely only on these incredible songs. Other tracks like Rise, Regular People, and By Demons Be Driven, for example, reinforce something just as important: consistency. There's no filler here, no drop in intensity. It's a very solid record all the way through, and every track locks into the same philosophy by being groove-driven, rhythm-focused, and incredibly tight. Out of curiosity, what is your favorite song on Vulgar Display of Power? Let us know in the comments down below. The album's cover famously shows a man being punched in the face, a picture taken by photographer Brad Geiss, who had also shot the artwork for Cowboys from Hell. The concept partly came from Dimebag Darrell, who experimented with a photocopier by moving a photo across the glass as the light scanned it, creating a distorted, smeared effect on the face. When presenting the idea to their label, Pantera simply asked for something vulgar, like a man being punched. The label's first attempt featured a boxer wearing a glove, but the band rejected it. A second version was then produced using a bare fist, which became the iconic image for Vulgar Display of Power. For years, Vinnie Paul claimed that the man on the cover had been paid $10 per punch and was struck more than 30 times. Rex Brown jokingly said that it took 32 hits to capture the perfect shot. Photographer Brad Geiss later clarified that in reality, the model Sean Cross was never actually punched in the face. The fist was simply pressed firmly against his face to create the illusion. The title of the album itself was taken from a line in the 1973 film The Exorcist, when a priest challenges the demon by saying,
"If you're the devil, why not make the straps disappear?"
That's much too vulgar display of power, Paris.
It was the perfect title for what the band was creating. Vulgar Display of Power was first released on February 24, 1992 in the UK, and on February 25th for the US and other international markets. The album produced 2 official singles, Mouth for War and Walk, along with 3 additional promo singles, This Love, Hollow, and Hostile. The single Mouth for War became Pantera's first song ever to reach the charts. It started on the UK singles chart on October 10, 1992, and peaked at number 73. The follow-up single, Walk, became the band's first top 40 UK hit, reaching number 35 for 2 consecutive weeks. To promote the album further, the Walk EP was released in some European countries, in Australia, and in Japan. 3 music videos were also produced, Mouth for War, This Love, and Walk, who would later appear on Vulgar Video and 3 Vulgar Videos from Hell. The music video for Walk was filmed at the Riviera Theater in Chicago, capturing multiple takes in front of a live audience. On April 12, 2012, an unreleased track titled Piss, which was recorded during the sessions, was officially unveiled. Drummer Vinnie Paul discovered the song while going through old Pantera recordings. Notably, the main riff from Piss was later used for the track Use My Third Arm on the band's next album, Far Beyond Driven. The reaction to Vulgar Display of Power was overwhelmingly positive, both from fans and critics. It quickly solidified Pantera as a dominant force in heavy metal. The album's combination of sheer heaviness and powerful grooves captured the attention of fans. Songs like Walk, Mouth for War, A New Level, and This Love quickly became fan favorites and essential fixtures during Pantera's live performances. Critics praised the band's evolution to a heavier and more groove-oriented style. Terry Date's remarkable production, Vinnie Paul's legendary drum sound, Phil's incredible vocal performance, and Dimebag's fantastic guitar work and tone were repeatedly highlighted as standout elements of the album. Vulgar Display of Power entered the Billboard 200 at number 44 and remained in the charts for an impressive 78 consecutive weeks, a remarkable achievement for an album this aggressive and uncompromising. The record was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America on February 9, 1993, before reaching platinum status on November 7, 1997. By July 7, 2004, the album had gone double platinum, representing more than 2 million copies sold in the United States alone. Internationally, the album also performed strongly. It peaked at number 64 in the UK, number 69 in Germany, and number 56 in Australia. In the years that followed, Vulgar Display of Power continued to chart in other territories as its reputation grew, eventually reaching number 54 in Japan and number 196 in Belgium. The album also received gold certifications in Canada, Argentina, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, proving that Pantera's sound resonated far beyond the American metal scene. By the mid-1990s, the album had become more than just a successful metal release. It had become part of the culture. To support Vulgar Display of Power, Pantera spent much of 1992 on the road with Skid Row and Soundgarden, exposing the band to a broader mainstream audience across the United States. They later joined Megadeth for a European tour and also toured with White Zombie that same year. Their live shows were capturing the same raw energy that defined the album itself. Combined with their crushing sound and unbending attitude, those performances helped transform the band from rising metal act into the genre's most defining force of the 1990s. At the same time, the music videos for Walk, Mouth for War, and This Love received heavy rotation on MTV, increasing the band's visibility. The influence of the album even extended into MTV's Headbangers Ball, which used segments from Vulgar Display of Power in the show's opening sequence, bumpers, and closing theme throughout much of the decade. The songs Walk and Mouth for War continued to reach new audiences long after the album's release. They became downloadable tracks for the video game Rock Band 3. Walk, in particular, took on a life of its own outside the metal world, appearing in Madden NFL 10, on the television series CSI New York, and on broadcasts of Monday Night Football. The album's influence even extended to Hollywood. By Demons Be Driven was featured in the 2015 film The Big Short. Christian Bale is shown passionately drumming along to the song in one scene. Bale had to learn the drum part specifically for that sequence. At its core, the ultimate measure of a great album is whether it still matters decades after its release. And Vulgar Display of Power has only grown more influential with time. It remains one of the most important releases in heavy metal history, an album that reshaped the genre's direction and established a new standard for heaviness. In the early 90s, the future of heavy metal seemed uncertain, but Vulgar Display of Power helped keep the genre commercially viable while pushing it forward artistically. It became the bridge between the fading thrash metal movement of the 1980s and the modern forms of metal that would define the 1990s and beyond. Its impact was so significant that Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater later stated, "Pantera was the band that carried metal through the rest of the 90s into the new millennium." Before this album, heaviness in metal was largely defined by speed. The faster, the heavier. Vulgar Display of Power dismantled that logic completely by perfecting a new blueprint for groove metal. Pantera blended the power of thrash metal, the attitude of hardcore, and the stomp of blues, stripping everything down to its essentials. What remained was pure, blunt force impact. From that foundation, the album's influence became almost impossible to overstate. Nearly every major American metal band that emerged after 1992 carried some traces of Pantera's sound, attitude, or rhythmic approach. Bands like Machine Head, Fear Factory, and Slipknot are clear examples. Its impact also extended far beyond metal itself, helping to shape the foundations of nu metal and metalcore, two genres that would go on to dominate heavy music throughout the late 1990s and 2000s. Even more importantly, what separates this album from many other influential records is the way its legacy has survived across generations. Decades after its release, Vulgar Display of Power continues to find new audiences, passed down from older fans to younger listeners with the same passion. As Rex Brown reflected, 2 whole generations have gone by, and I still see kids who are 14 to 20 years old, rabid Pantera fans, because their dads were rabid fans. Very few albums, in metal or any genre, achieve that kind of lasting cross-generational connection. In the metal world, there are great guitar albums, and then there is Vulgar Display of Power. Dimebag Darrell delivered what is widely considered one of the most distinctive and influential guitar performances in heavy metal history. A part of that impact came from his instantly recognizable sound. Using Dean ML guitars, Randall solid-state amplifiers, and a Furman parametric EQ, Dimebag forged a guitar tone that was unlike anything dominating metal at the time. Beyond the tone itself, the true brilliance of his work was the way he played. He combined screaming pinch harmonics, blues-inflected bends, explosive dive bombs, and groove-heavy riffs into a style that was entirely his own. His riffs felt massive, almost architectural in their construction, while his solos balanced precision with pure unpredictability. Even today, entire generations of musicians continue to study and chase the sound and energy that Dimebag created. Structurally, one of the rarest qualities in any album, across any genre, is the complete absence of weak moments. The sequencing of the tracks makes Vulgar Display of Power feel like a single and unified statement rather than a collection of individual songs. That level of consistency is extraordinarily rare, and it's one of the main reasons the album has aged so well. That reputation is reinforced by critics and fans alike. Vulgar Display of Power has repeatedly been placed among the greatest heavy metal albums of all time, including number 10 on Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Metal Albums of All Time and number 11 on IGN's Top 25 Metal Albums, while also appearing near the top of multiple retrospective rankings of 1990s metal. It consistently ranks among the highest-rated Pantera albums in both fan polls and critical lists. This album stands as a monument to what heavy metal can achieve when every element, musicianship, songwriting, performance, production, and attitude aligns in pursuit of intensity. It captures the essence of the genre: power, authenticity, and catharsis. Pantera created a record that still inspires, challenges, and energizes musicians and fans alike. Decades after its release, Vulgar Display of Power continues to resonate as a benchmark of heavy metal excellence. For anyone seeking the raw force and emotional truth of heavy metal, Vulgar Display of Power remains unmatched, a reminder that the genre is at its strongest when it is honest, brutal, and unapologetically itself. Do you have any fond memories connected to Vulgar Display of Power? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Metal Icons. Thank you for watching.